My name's Paul Herr. I am an employee motivation researcher. I've been studying human motivation for going on 39 years. I love this topic. I love this area of research. The goal today, use the latest science to crack the motivational code and figure out the best way to motivate people and cure the engagement epidemic. Well, according to Gallup, 17% of employees in the United States hate their jobs. They look at their employer as their enemy. They work against the company's interests. And if you had 100% employees who hated you, how do you think your company would perform? Fortunately, 33% of our employees have their head in the game. They believe in the company and its mission. They're willing to go beyond the call of duty for their company. They're our champions. They're the 20% who do 80% of the work. You know, 33%, let's see, what would that be on a college exam if you get a 33% correct? Steve, what is that? That's pretty much an F. F. Steve says it's an F. Well, I agree. So companies worldwide get an F for motivating their employees. So that's what I'm going to suggest today. What I'm giving you today is the fix for fixing this horrendous problem with the capitalist system. And if you implement that fix, I'm thinking good things are going to happen. Human motivation is simple. At its essence, it's pretty simple. And it's simple because it really works like a thermostat. Think of hunger. You know, maybe people, well, you just ate, but maybe some people didn't eat enough and they're starting to get hungry. So there's a hunger thermostat in the brain. And when we're satiated, when we had the ideal amount of food, we'll call that the set point. When we have that amount of food, we feel good. If we eat too much, we feel bloated, it hurts, it gets us to stop eating until the level comes to the ideal, and then we feel good again. If we're not eating enough, we're starving, we feel hunger, which is another form of pain, which gets us to eat. And so there's this homeostatic system, that's the technical word for this thermostat, a homeostatic system that keeps us alive by regulating how much we eat. Insight number 2, you feel good when you're doing the right thing to survive, when you're at the set point. And really what my message today is, as managers and leaders, we want to help our employees get to their set points, because that's when they're optimally productive and they get the most pleasure. So you're supposed to feel good at work. If you don't, you're malfunctioning. So what does the human engine look like? If I could take Guard's brain out and look at his motivational mechanism, what would that look like? Well, I think it would have 10 parts, 10 systems, 10 motivational cylinders, if you will. So these things are all regulated rigorously with feelings of, motivating feelings of pleasure and pain. Do you think nature stopped there? It's got this wonderful motivational system. Do you think it just said, okay, I'm done. I'm not going to regulate anything else? Well, that wouldn't work. Because once you start regulating and giving incentives over here, what if there's something over here that's important, that doesn't have incentives? You, as a rational being, are you going to do the stuff that has no incentives or the stuff that has great incentives? I'm going to do the stuff that has great incentives. Paul Lawrence and Neeton Noria wrote Driven in 2003, and they tried to pull all this thinking together. And they came up with the following social appetites or social thermostats that drive everything happening in the workplace. Social drives. The first one is a drive to learn and innovate. We are the tool maker. We are the smart primate. If we don't develop technologies, we are dead. We are slow, we're weak, we're poorly armed. If we don't have a system to encourage us to explore the environment and look for resources that we can put together new and interesting ways to create technologies, we're out of luck. So according to our theory here, there has to be a system in the brain to make sure we do this. And there has to be a system of pleasure and pain to make sure we do it and incentivize it. And the drive to bond, the drive to have close interpersonal relationships, because there's another neurotransmitter in our brain called oxytocin, the relationship hormone. When we pet our dog or hug our kids or go out with our buddies for beer and high five, oxytocin is released. It is the force that keeps us together. If you turned off oxytocin in all of our brains, we wouldn't care about each other anymore, and we'd scatter like cats. And so if you create a workplace environment that encourages people to have really honest, committed relationships with one another, that's hugely important. So when you come into the workplace, you're coming into a family who cares about you, you care about them, you're all kind of part of the same entity, and a very important form of reward. And then the last drive is the drive to defend. And that's the motivational button we don't want to press. We don't want to threaten people's assets because they're going to go ballistic on us and do all kinds of negative things, and they're going to become enemies and disengage, and it's going to cost us, lots of money. Here's what happens. If we can press those 5 motivational buttons, employees win because their work becomes much more intrinsically rewarding. They love coming to work. If they were independently wealthy, they would come just for the fun of it. Managers win because employees are more energetic, proactive, require less oversight and hand-holding. It's just a lot easier to work with them because they want to do a good job. They're thinking ahead. They don't have to be told how to do every little thing. They're acting more like owners than renters. Customers win because they get better goods and services delivered with a smile, because everybody's jazzed. Everyone's having a great time doing what human beings are supposed to do in a human way. We're aligning with human nature. You get the best outcome for everybody. I call this employee-first management. Take care of the needs of your employees by pressing their 5 buttons. Employees will take care of the customer because they want to. Expanding business, increasing profits. If you try to short-circuit this, just take care of the customers and forget about the employees, well, that doesn't work, because these guys are taking care of these guys. If they're pissed off, they're not going to do this. What about we just focus on the money? Well, now we're not taking care of anybody's needs. We're not providing any value, so we're not going to succeed at just paying attention to the bottom line. The bottom line comes by providing value, and providing value comes through pressing the 5 buttons. I would like you guys to make a commitment today. Just like in The Matrix, the movie The Matrix, Neo, Morpheus comes up to Neo and says, "Okay, Neo, if you take the red pill, you go back into the Matrix. And you just forget we ever met. You go back to that life. Take the blue pill, you go down the 5-drive rabbit hole. And that will, I believe, take you to a much better place where employees enjoy their work more, companies are more productive, customers are happier, shareholders are happier. That's the better place, I'm promising you. Which one do you want? The red pill stays the same, or the blue pill? And I'm serious. I'd like everybody to write down, are you going to take the red or the blue pill? Red stays the same, blue, we go down the 5-drive rabbit hole. Blue pill, I heard him. So let's talk to Steve and Holly now, because they've gone down the rabbit hole, and they're going to report on what happened down there.